It's time now for our grand finale session, and we are truly finishing it off royal style because our next panel is on reimagining royalty. And look, truly in royal style, they have color coordinated their outfits as well today, as you can see. So welcome to all of you. Let me begin with you first, Archana ji, on reimagining royalty in today's times for you. How was it inventing your brand? What was the lineage of Badnaur and Pratapgarh, where you hailed from, that you drew from? And do you believe it wasn't very easy, being a woman royal, an entrepreneur, doing this in today's India?
Uday, thank you so much for having me on this panel. And I'm greatly overjoyed to have family and friends with me on this panel. So I run my brand, which is called House of Badnaur, as you just stated. I have worked for the longest time in my life, and then I think there comes a point of time when you circle back to your roots, and that is what happened. After 7 years and 17 years of working, I decided to launch my own label, and this time I picked up my, just the name itself is House of Badnaur. Badnaur is where we belong from. So that is how I decided to reconnect with my roots. Why House of Badnaur? House of Badnaur, because Badnaur as a Tikana, it was a principality of Mewar, and it was amongst the 16 premier inner circle of the late Maharana of Udaipur. So it was a tight coterie. And Badnaur has always had a legacy of excellence. We trace our lineage back to Rao Jaimalji, who was, of course, renowned. He fought against Akbar and Mirabai. So that is the lineage that we are following. So when I picked up the name, it was a mantle of responsibility that I was carrying. So very consciously, I had to create the right line of accessories. And when I say creating, it meant creating from the past and creating for the modern world, because it is all about the narrative. It is all about how you convey, how you take your legacy forward. So that is how House of Badnaur was launched. And just to go back a little more, when I talk about excellence, it is, so the family, Badnaur family, has always followed the path of excellence. From Rao Jaimalji to my father-in-law, my uncle-in-law, and also my own husband, who very quietly followed the rigors of discipline and went on to, he's heading an MNC. So when I picked up the name, these are all the nuances that basically shaped my ideology for the brand.
Jaykirti ji, let me take that to you. Was it easy for you, and is it easy being a Rajput woman to turn entrepreneur? And also, tell us a bit about your brand, how you looked at reviving the Rajasthani traditional costumes, poshak, cape, saris through your creations.
Thank you so much for calling me here. And
Mike, if you can just put up a bit.
Okay. So for me, it was easy because my family, both the parents' side and the in-laws, they were very supportive, but it's not the same with other people. I know that. I mean, the girls don't get this kind of independence, which fortunately I got. So that was nice. We were allowed, I mean, we were really given all the freedom. And reinventing the capes and things like that. That I did because the family, it was in fashion long time back. My Nanisa used to have the cape. So I always wanted to wear one, but it was worn out, torn. So of course that was the inspiration. So I copied that. I got all the inspiration from that particular piece and started doing, which became a huge hit for me. I mean, it really, my brand value increased because of the cape and the poshaks and all. That's,
okay.
Yeah.
Nandini ji, let me take that to you on, on how you got interested in the arts and how you've also tried to give back to locals and particularly the vulnerable in areas of Madhya Pradesh and other parts through your patronage of the arts?
Thank you there firstly for having me here with this esteemed panel, also my family and friends. Well, I think my interest in art was always there. I did have an eye for it. I got back from America and joined, so when I came back here, I went back to my roots. I belong to Jhabua royal family, and it's predominantly a tribal area. And there I saw some fabulous Bhil art. So, of course, Bhuri Bai, who's very popular. So I was very inspired by that art and I started collecting it. Then once I got here to Delhi to educate the children, I, of course, saw these amazing ladies right here sitting with me. And I was very inspired that they actually go back to their roots. They create, they bring artisans to prominence. And that is one of the things I told myself that, I would like to do the same with tribal art. So as a patron of the arts, this is where my journey began, under the umbrella of Royal Fables and the patronage of Royal Fables.
Yashaswini, let me take that to you. How did your lineage and inherited heritage help drive your decision to do what you are today? And tell us a bit about your journey in the arts.
Okay, so I've grown up seeing these very ladies here and seeing their sense of style and the way they've incorporated their heritage into what they do today. And what they've all done is revive things, right? They've gone back and brought things from the past to the future. So what I do currently is I work with IIT Bombay and the Ministry of Culture. And in a nutshell, what we do is we try to digitize Indian culture. So I work for the Indian Culture Portal, and we have collections, museums, books, libraries, all of that is accessible to the public. So it's making the past accessible to the future. That's what I do. And I think growing up in the kind of setup that we all have, it's very easy to make this choice. Because it's so much a part of your life that it's not really a choice, it's a done thing. Okay, it's a 100-year-old home, theek hai. Okay, you have to wear a sari in a certain way. Okay, I've seen my mother wear it, I've seen my grandmother wear it, and it's come down to me. And now the same textiles have come down to me. I'm wearing the same clothes my grandmother wore, I'm wearing the same jewelry. So I think it's become a part of my life, and it's become part of my work as well.
Since you're the youngest on our panel, I will definitely ask you about how do we encourage youngsters to, get involved and interested in the arts, and also perhaps develop an interest for heritage and, history of our country.
So I'll use a very overused term, which is democratized spaces, and make things accessible. So when you see museums across the world, they have cafes inside, they have events happening there. What we lack here is that we have not been able to make museums a part of our daily life. It's something that you take time out to go and visit. It's not something you would go and do if you were bored. I mean, how many people, even in my generation, do I come across who want to go to a museum because they're bored, who want to learn because they are bored? It's something you're forced to do. The minute you make it part of your life, you make it like, okay, supposing this event was held in an amphitheater at one of our museums. If it was held, let's say, maybe next year you can do that, have it at the National Museum. You are bringing people to the museum. You are making a somewhat closed space all that more inclusive. You are making it accessible to people. And I think the minute you do that, my generation realizes the relevance of a space like that. The minute you realize the relevance of it, you want to protect it. You want to take it forward, and you want to make it yours.
Nandini, I'll take the next question to you. Your in-laws are, of course, into politics. And we do see many royal families enter politics because through that, they are in positions of power and they can, do things for their constituents and their erstwhile, principality. Do you believe, though, that politics is the only way that royals can give back, or are there other ways that they can do more in the areas that, at one time they used to rule over or have a connect with?
Yes, I don't particularly agree that politics is the only way. I think I was able to get into this whole giving journey, women empowerment, pad empowerment. It all started onset of COVID, with a mere call by my founder, Marina Sheikh, wanting me to join the foundation. And ever since that, it's been non-political, but also we have now a duty to get some funds. Once you get the CSR, then you do want to get into the political realm of it to get sort of funds for the right reason. For example, I am creating funds for the tribal artists as well as the foundation, because whatever piece we tend to sell, we give 30% of that, the proceeds towards the foundation. So that's how we're trying to sustain our work. So, so that it kind of also goes to an end, because there are times when you do need to go to a particular area, to a particular municipality. So there has to be some sort of, but not always, but yeah, there is, it's kind of hand in hand sometime and sometime not.
Okay. Jaykirti ji, how do you appeal to the youngsters of today? How do you make your brand, say, relevant to the youngsters of today? Often they are sometimes not interested in history, or they look at, modern trends. We talk about westernization of society. So how do you reinvent? How do you make your traditional, sarees and other, components of your brand appeal to youngsters? Of course, platforms like Royal Fables help, like Nandini ji said, but how do you do it?
Actually, my approach to designing and everything is very classic. Okay. So I do the classic, basic stuff, which you'll be surprised all the younger generation wants to wear.
Okay.
I know all the girls, they love to wear after, of course, a certain age, 17, 18 years, because they're normal daily wear, kurta, dupattas, or the sarees for weddings and things like that. So I don't think so the younger generation is away from the thing. They want it at some point in their life. They do wear, especially office. My daughter asked me, she's working in Bombay, she takes my clothes, and then her friends also, because for a change they want to wear that also. So it is.
So you have to be unique. You have to be classic.
Classic. And, I think you don't have to try too much for the thing. But yeah, the younger generation, I feel, is simpler, and they prefer sustainable clothing, whereas they don't want like one-time use thing. They want to wear it again and again. So there, I think I do that. Okay. I fill the gap.
Okay, Archana ji, just talking now also, since you were telling us about your ancestry from Rajasthan. Rajasthan is, of course, one of the big tourism hubs of India. And we see, the West, tourists descend on Rajasthan. It's a must on the itinerary whenever they come to India. But do you believe that more can be done, not just in Rajasthan specifically, but across the country, by involving royal families and aristocratic families with their palaces, forts, heritage, to be talked more about? Do you believe the government, other institutions, administration can do more to work together, which can really help tourism and which ends up helping our economy at the end of the day?
Of course, there's so much of space in the other states as well. Rajasthan has just been completely glamorized, and for the right reasons, of course. But there's so much in UP, there is so much in Madhya Pradesh.
Yes, it's a very, I must say, also very holistic panel today, because they trace the ancestry from Odisha to Madhya Pradesh, to Uttar Pradesh, to Rajasthan, to Gujarat. So not just, centered around one particular state or region.
That's true. So I belong from Pratapgarh, which is in UP. I'm married in Badnor, which is in Rajasthan. So I have seen the two states. UP has so much of potential. There is Banaras, of course, that is being developed now. And of course, the Banarsi textile has created a huge rage in the country and outside. So all of this, I think, can be monetized towards tourism. I know the government is trying, but I think it is a very, very long way to go before they reach where Rajasthan has already reached.
Okay. Let me ask then a common question to all of you. What does heritage mean to you? And how have you gone about in your real life preserving heritage? So let's begin with you.
Heritage is a huge responsibility. But when we become torchbearers of our legacy in some way, in a little minuscule way, which just by the fact that I'm using the name of our ancestral place, it is also, as I said, is a huge responsibility. We also have the power to reinvent and to create narratives which we pick up from the past and recreate for the modern world. That is a power that we have. Because in our position, now we are seniors in the family, almost, not completely, but yes, given my age, we have the ability to take on what we must preserve and discard what is not relevant. And I have done that a lot, not just in my personal life, but also in my professional life. I have recreated from the past. We've coined the word past forward for my brand house of Badnor, because yes, we do create a lot of nostalgia, but we create for the modern world. We create for, we also have coined a phrase called Princess Wears Prada. Why Princess Wears Prada? Because the princesses of today are not confined to their palaces. They are globe-trotting, they are achieving, they're flying really high. So we are creating for them. We are just letting go of that which has no relevance. So that is my way of preserving heritage.
For me also, I'm trying to revive the old clothes and old textiles, designs. We restore a lot of old poshaks and all. Our clients get them. So, yes, of course, the way of clothing.
And what does heritage mean to you when I say the word?
Heritage is your legacy, your old, what you are all about actually. For me, it is like my identity, my family, the lineage and everything.
So I think I kind of love what Archana Jija just talked about heritage. For me, heritage is assimilation of cultures. Cultures passed down from generation to generation. And to be able to adapt to every generation and, like Archana Jija said, discard what must be discarded, and of course look forward to what we can do as patrons of our regal lineage. So yeah, that's what heritage is for me.
Yashaswini?
For me, I think heritage is what is tangible, what is intangible, what I have inherited. It is my duty to protect, as we've discussed, discard what is unnecessary and make sure what I have inherited is worth inheriting for someone tomorrow. That's how I look at heritage, but I'd be poetic and say that to me, heritage is also the roots that have actually given me wings to fly. So that's what heritage is.
I also want to quickly, before we end, three of you are mothers on the panel, and one, of course, is not yet. A mother is young, is the youngster on the panel, as I said earlier. So then I'll ask you first, and then I'll ask them. What is one advice, or what is your mother's learnings that came to you when it came to your legacy and your heritage? Mother or grandparents, you can tell us. Or parents or grandparents.
So what I've learned, or what I've always been told, is it's great to go out there, be who you want to be, but don't forget where you come from. Mm-hmm. Because what you are today, or who you are today, is also the culmination of generations. And the opportunities you have today are because you've been born into a family like that. Don't ever forget that. Don't forget your privilege. Mm-hmm. You've born with a silver spoon in your mouth. Make sure you're deserving of it. And go out there, do what you want to do, but don't forget that. I think that's what I've learned from them, from my grandparents, from my parents, at times from my sibling.
Yes.
Yeah.
What do you tell your kids, Nandini ji?
You know, service, philanthropy is a part of me, it's a part of my family for as long as I can remember. I think since I was born. So whether it's like a entertainment over dinner, or whether it's an orphanage run by my grandmother, or whether it's my dad doing things for people. The value system has been so coherent. The service value system is so coherent कि एक हाली के साथ भी सेम होती थी मेरी दादी और लेट महाराजा माधवराव सिंधिया के साथ भी सेम होती थी. She was known for being who she is, and that's what she's taught us as well.
I tell my daughter to respect our great legacy, and of course what Yashaswini said, I truly agree with her. She can do whatever, but she cannot forget where she's coming from and what family she belongs to and what responsibility she has. So she has to behave accordingly. I mean, just be there and respect the family.
Okay.
That's what.
What is it that you told your daughters?
Well, I have 2 daughters, grown-up girls. I have always prioritized their happiness over everything else. I have never confined them, or will never confine them, to lives of compromise. I want them to remain empowered, because as Maya Angelou said, empowered women empower women. So that is what I would want them to do always.
Okay, some lovely advice there, which our audience, of course, is appreciating. Okay, before we end, बचपन में और अभी भी जब भी कहानियाँ हम सुनते हैं तो राजा रानी की कहानियाँ सामने आती हैं. तो जब हमारे बीच 4 रानियाँ और राजकुमारियाँ हैं तो क्यों ना एक कहानी हो जाए साक्षात उन्हीं के मुंह से. So tell us one small anecdote or some interesting story that you may have heard growing up, or you want to share with us about either Dhinkanal or Baroda or one of the rulers, or stories from there. Short snippet.
So I'll tell you a story that I had heard growing up, and I hear my parents tell our guests when they visit. It's how Dhenkanal was established. So many years ago, 1500s, the ruler came and he was on his hunt, and he saw a turtle dove and an eagle fighting, in battle. And the dove won. And he decided, this is where I'm going to establish my kingdom, because here the weak will never be overpowered by the powerful, and their justice will prevail. And I was so tired of hearing this story, because I heard it every 3rd day. And now I see the value, because the work we do, the work my parents do, a lot of it is with the community. And I think it's these stories, these fables that connect us to our past, to our present, to our future. So this is one of those stories.
Mine is a bit of a funny anecdote. Apparently there was a ruler many years ago, and he was a Daku. And he was called Daku Jhabbunath. So I remember while growing up, whenever we did something bratty, my granddad used to say, Jhabbunath ke hunter se marunga tumko. So these are little things that we kind of, So every time we go to Jhabua, everyone's like, oh, there is like a haunted, this is a haunted palace. And then me and my cousins used to be sleeping in this one room, waiting for some kind of noise and a Jhabbunath Daku to appear from somewhere. So yeah, it was fun. I think growing up, going back to the palace was something that I really treasure.
Okay, I don't remember such interesting stories, but yeah, we've got paintings in Kishangarh, and there was Princess Charumati, who Aurangzeb got after to marry, and he wanted to see her. So they had to show him in the reflection in the water. But then she was Raat mein they had to send her away and marry Maharana of Mewar, so that Aurangzeb doesn't come. He was quite shrewd and really after her. So not really.
That's interesting. That's interesting. मुझे रानी पद्मावती की याद आ रही है आपकी कहानी
रानी पद्मावती का actually it was Kishangarh Charumati. That's the thing.
And the fable, how the story
carries
becomes.
on. Yeah, and it was.
Yeah, Archana ji. Last, we'll end with you. A story from you.
I cannot recall a particular story. We just grew up with grandmothers and the retinue of maids. So there were always stories. We were always regaled with so much, as all of us. But, my great-grandmother, Rani Rampriya, she was Pratapgarh. I'm talking about my family. So she got smallpox. And my great-grandfather and everybody else thought that she's not going to make it, because smallpox was a dreaded disease at that point of time. So her father came to my great-grandfather and he said, look, my daughter's going to die. I have another daughter. Why would you not marry her? And he married her, and Rani Rampriya survived. She never saw her husband or her sister's face ever again, ever.
That's an interesting.
So, yeah, very. That is empowerment of some kind. She had the power to say, I will not deal with you. And she lived there as the Rani.
Yeah. This is why our royal families remain intriguing and interesting till this very date. 4 stories that you just heard right here at our NewsX Festival of Ideas. We leave it at that. Thank you all so much for being with us today.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.